Hello, my beautiful friends. It's Amanda here, and today we're talking about round 2 of the Sailor Moon and ColourPop collaboration. We're getting a whole new collection. This is the sister release to their 2020 original collaboration with Sailor Moon, and this is supposed to be like the cool tone sister, whereas the first collection is decidedly much more warm toned. Adding more complements in both color and type of product. This is launching today, the day this video goes up, September 28th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It will also be at Ulta Beauty on October 1st. I know that due to licensing restrictions, this collection is not going to be shipping worldwide. I know a lot of the Asian countries are heavily restricted by licensing. It's not really up to ColourPop, so I know that it's super annoying if you want this and you're in a place where you can't get it, but it's just a licensing restriction. I'm going to put a list either in the comments or in the description box of all the places ColourPop has confirmed to me they will be shipping to. I also confirmed with ColourPop that codes will be applicable, but just not on any of the sets or bundles, and that is typical. But the individual products, you will be able to use coupon codes. I do have an affiliate code. It's just my first name, Amanda, and that will save you 10% on any of the individual items. And if you still want to support this channel or any of your other favorite creators, you can still shop for the bundles using affiliate links. That does help us out too. Thank you to everybody who does choose to support the channel by using my affiliate codes or affiliate links. I appreciate it. I know my other fellow YouTube creators appreciate it too. One last bit of info before we get into the close-ups and the swatches. I do not know how limited this collection will be. ColourPop wouldn't directly confirm to me when any of these things will be restocked if they sell out. So I think they're probably just sort of waiting to see what the demand is like, how things go with Ulta sales and whatnot. I don't have any information about this, but my assumption is that this will be around for a while because the original collaboration has been around for, I think, 3 years at this point. So I think you can be a little bit relaxed with buying this, but I don't know if they'll keep certain items like the face gloss or whatever to a more limited quantity. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. My assumption is there will be restocks, but I did not get any confirmation on that. So unfortunately, I can't say for sure. Now, I have a ton of information, close-ups, swatches, a tutorial, some comparisons. We have a lot of information to get into. So let's start with the pressed powder highlighters. These are retail priced at $14 US a piece. The artwork on the outer carton is the same, save for the shade name label. However, the actual compacts themselves do have 2 different color kitty cats on them. So these are easy to tell apart once they're out of their packaging. And I will admit, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not an active Sailor Moon participant, so I don't know a lot about the franchise. I can really only go off of makeup expertise and not really fan expertise. So I've seen a lot of people who are fans saying that they're disappointed with the color selection. I can't really say whether or not it fits the theme truly because I just don't have a lot of experience with the Sailor Moon franchise. I'm aware of it. I know what it is. I could pick her out of a lineup, but I just don't have a lot of in-depth information. So this review is really coming from purely a makeup expertise. And if you are a fan and you have fan expertise, then I appreciate hearing your comments because that is not a place where I am well versed. But I can tell you about this So Dewy face and eye gloss. We have seen this formula before. They released one of these with the Aurora Struck collection. This is priced at $12, and I think this is some of my favorite packaging. Inside and out, it has the most colorful carton. I love the holographic details on the top of the screw top pot. I like this bright, bold, eye-catching packaging on the outer carton. I think it would be fun to have seen more of this more colorful packaging. Here's a close-up look at the face gloss. It's called Moon Crystal Power. This is a purpley iridescent shade with a heavy green shift. You will get to see this in action later on in the tutorial portion in case you're wondering what the heck this is for. I don't know if I did it right, but I will show you how I used it. I also want to show you a comparison with the previously released shade that I mentioned from the Aurora Struck collection. That one's called Panoramic. It's definitely more of a pinky purple, and it has a decidedly pink blue type of shift, whereas Moon Crystal Power is a much stronger, more green, almost golden green in comparison. Do they look incredibly similar? Yes, I think in practice on the face, these are going to look quite similar, but they're not as much the same color as I expected them to be when I first laid eyes on them. Definitely very similar looking, but absolutely not dupes, not the same color. And if this is the type of product you're into, I'm sure that you will notice more of a difference in practice than a layman like myself. Let's move on to the lip duos now. I believe the lip products will only be sold in the duos. I don't think you're going to be able to get them individually, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I know the lip duos will be retail priced at $18 a piece. Each one has a shimmery ultra glossy lip and then a ultra blotted lip companion. All of these lip products have special packaging, but the applicators, the tube shape and size, all that is exactly like the previously released ultra glossies and ultra blotted lips. That's a flexible flat doe foot for the ultra glossy, and then the small, slightly slanted detailed doe foot for the ultra blotted lip. Here's a look at the swatches on my arm. I just did a quick swipe of the ultra blotted so you can see how sheared out these can be worn. And then when I apply it to my lips, I'll build it up a little bit more. That way you can get a sense for the potential these have to be really opaque as well. You can definitely build up this ultra blotted formula. I actually really like the newly reformulated ultra blotted lips. It was not my favorite formula previously. It was too dry and it just felt powdery and not flattering and not comfortable on my lips. The new reformulation is much better for me. It definitely feels more hydrated, and I think that it looks a lot more flattering on my lips as well. I decided to do these lip swatches layered. In all honesty, the shimmery glosses just look pretty much the same over my bare lips. They just look like a little sparkly gloss. They're cute. It's not my personal taste. It's not my thing. I actually prefer the ultra blotteds over the ultra glossies in these duos. But I do think that they're cute. They make sense within the collection. I know a lot of people love shimmery glosses, and a lot of people are going to love them. They're not bad by any means. Performance-wise, formula-wise, they're exactly what you would expect. It's just a personal preference thing for me. I do feel like all shimmery glosses just kind of end up looking the same on my lips, especially because these are both a clear base with a different color sparkle inside, so they don't really do much for me individually. Like I said, not bad, just not really my thing personally. Next, we're going to talk about the two BFF cream gel liners. These are retail priced at $9 a piece. They do have the exact same style of packaging on the outer carton. And then, as is typical of the BFF cream gel liners, the actual liners themselves have color coordinated packaging, and then they have these little stars and moons details on the lids. I think that's so cute. I love that. Both of these liners have a metallic finish, and the blue one has a duochrome type of shift to it. I think these are really pretty. I am surprising myself a lot by how much I enjoy the color selections in this collection because pastels typically aren't my thing, blues typically aren't my thing, and I find myself really gravitating towards a lot of the products that I didn't expect to love. And I actually really like these eyeliners. You'll see me use the purple one in the tutorial. Last piece we're going to look at up close here is the eyeshadow palette. This is the For Love and Justice pressed powder palette. It will be retail priced at $22 US. I'm going to give you super close up look at all the packaging, all the shades. This one is the exact same shape and size as the previously released Sailor Moon palette, so it does have the smaller eyeshadow pans. You'll get to see those two side by side a little bit later on in the video. Just want to mention that the ingredients list is only on the outer carton, so if you have any interest in ingredients, any sensitivity, anything like that, I would recommend hanging on to the outer carton. Same type of packaging, but not an exact same artwork on the palette itself. As usual, we have the shade names listed on the back, but again, no ingredients list here. This is a heavy-duty cardboard palette with a magnetic closure. There is no mirror inside here, just more illustrations on the inside of the cover, and then we have 12 shades laid out in 3 rows of 4. This palette has 4 true matte shades, 2 mattes with glitter, 2 of their pearlescent glitter shades, and then 4 just regular straight up shimmers. The pearlescent glitters are their new pressed glitter formula. It's just like little teeny tiny particles, and I like it better. They're still not my favorite, but I definitely prefer the pearlescent glitter formula over those big old chunky gel messes of press glitters that used to be in the palette, so I'll take it. It's an improvement in my opinion. Again, just my opinion. You just like whatever you want to like. Here's a close-up look at the swatches. Finger swatches are on top, brush swatches are below. I use a dry brush. There's no primer. I don't dampen my brush. And I have to say, I do find the formulas to be pretty consistent in here, especially considering the types of shades in this palette. I do think that pastels and dark purples tend to be kind of disappointing, especially lately from ColourPop. So these are actually way better than I expected. I was impressed with the swatches, and I was also honestly impressed with the performance on the eye, which you'll get to see in just a couple of minutes. First, I want to show you a side-by-side with the original Sailor Moon palette. I much prefer this newer palette. Color story-wise, it's just more interesting to me, and I do think that it's a little bit more complex. I couldn't put my finger on why I liked it so much because I'm not a blue and pastel girl, but once you see the comparisons with some of my favorite palettes, for example, the Huda Mercury Retrograde palette, one of my all-time favorite palettes in my entire collection, and look how similar these color stories are. So not really a surprise that I am gravitating more towards this For Love and Justice palette. And same experience later when we compare it to another one of my favorites, the Aurora Struck Mega Palette. I don't have a ton of good comparisons for this new Sailor Moon palette, which is, in my opinion, a good thing. That means that there's not a whole lot of straight up dupes sitting in my collection. Definitely you can get close by combining a couple of palettes, and I will say I'm very shocked by how similar the swatches are in this next comparison that we're about to do, because this is the most recently released ColourPop palette. It's the Welcome Foolish Mortals palette from the Haunted Mansion collection, and I do think these are just too similar for comfort. Maybe if they had been released like 6 months apart or something, but it's a little bit too similar. Definitely not the same, definitely not dupes, but you're going to be coming away with a lot of very similar color schemes between these two palettes. Last one I want to show you is the Aurora Struck comparison. And I think this is probably the best one-to-one palette match from within the ColourPop family. I love the Aurora Struck palette, so again, not a surprise. It was similar to two palettes that I really enjoy. So if you already have Aurora Struck, you definitely already have a lot of these colors in your collection, but I don't think that most people are going to be buying this collection for the colors. I think that it's going to be a lot of fans of the show that want to enjoy and celebrate their fandom. So, you know what? No shame in that game. If it makes you happy and you can afford it, I'm the last person that's going to judge you. I want to show you a bunch of these products in action now. I used the Moon Kingdom highlighter as a blush topper and it looks so beautiful. Add this to the list of unexpected enjoyed products because I think that the highlighters and the eyeliners are definitely in the top of my picks for this. I'm not usually an eyeliner girl. I'm not usually a bold, funky highlighter girl, but I just felt that these products worked so well for me. They looked so pretty, ethereal, glowy. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do, but I love it. Now let's move on to the eye look. I started with my favorite eye primer. It's the Ulta Matte Eye Primer, and I didn't really have a solid plan for this look, but I knew that I wanted to try to use a lot of the shades, and I really wanted to put some of the more pastel shades to the test because those are not only out of my own personal style comfort zone, which I like to challenge myself and try new things that I don't necessarily always gravitate to, but I do think that those can be the more challenging to use formula-wise. So I wanted to put those to the test on my eye. I wanted you to see what these light, more pastel-y shades look like in action. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm very impressed by the pigmentation, the blendability, the payoff that I was able to get on my eyelids with these soft pastel-y shades was above and beyond what I expected. I've had a lot of disappointing, streaky, chalky, barely there pastel eyeshadow experiences, and even within the ColourPop brand that has been my experience quite often. But these shadows really worked for me, and I think that they look beautiful on the lids. You're going to see me doing a lot of layering and blending. I like to mix together my eyeshadows. I like to just experiment and see what's going to happen. It's one of the places in your life where you can just sort of throw something together and try it and see what happens with no harm done. So I thought it was fun to mix and layer a lot of these colors, and I just really went for it to see what kind of eye look I could come up with. I knew I wanted something that was freeform, kind of smudgy, watercolory, and I definitely achieved it. I was just having fun and playing with my makeup, and I definitely encourage you to do the same thing. I always tell my friends when they ask, oh, how do you pull this off, or how did you come up with that? It's just try it and see. And you know what? If you hate it, you can just wipe it off. No harm done. Nobody has to see you. I tell myself that all the time, even when I'm filming. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let's just try it and see what happens. And if it's terrible and I hate it, I'll wipe it off. I'll start over. I'll delete the footage. No harm done. So I really want to encourage you to just enjoy trying, experimenting, mix and match. Who knows? You might come up with something really unexpectedly awesome. That is exactly how I feel about this look. Like I said, I had no plan. I didn't really have a vision. I just wanted to get in there and play with and layer some of these shades. And I think that the look I came up with is so fun, and it's cool. It feels like me. It feels like my style, but it's also not the norm for me, especially adding some purple eyeliner and doing the colorful lower waterline is not my daily go-to, but it looks so cool with this look. I knew I wanted to use one of the eyeliners just to use it, just to put it to the test and see what would happen. I didn't even set this liner and it ended up wearing incredibly well for me. That has been my experience all along with the BFF cream gel liners. So I'm happy to report that these are consistent with my great experience previously. Loved this eye look, really had fun making it and wearing it, and I think it looked so cute. But I did decide, you know what? I'm going to try out this crazy face and eye gloss thing too. I tried the one from the Aurora Struck collection, and I feel like I've had a similar experience here, which is one of experimentation, enjoyment, but not necessarily a incredibly useful go-to type of product for me. I do think this ends up with an interesting, very editorial type of look. It looks cool in video and photographs, and I did just one eye here so you could see the side-by-side difference with the gloss versus just the regular powder eyeshadow. And you know, it's cool. It looks funky. It looks awesome in pictures. If you're going for something different, then this is it. This is an easy way to achieve that. But for me, it's just not incredibly practical. It does make my makeup shift around after having it on over top of other makeup for a few minutes. So this is really only good for a photo session. This is not a sustainable type of product. It does not dry down. It remains glossy and sticky. And you know what? For a photo shoot, for a video, for whatever it may be, I don't have any problem with that. I think it's cool that there are these more editorial type of products that are becoming mainstream and accessible for people to really experiment and try something new. It's artistry, but it's not really the type of thing that I'm going to go back to beyond this editorial type of experimentation. Did that make sense? It's fine. I like it. I think other people will like it, but I'm not really gonna use it that much, so I don't really recommend it. But that's just one girl's opinion. This may be just the perfect thing that somebody's been waiting for and wanting to try, and I think that's great too. My personal top picks from this collection are the highlighters and the cream gel liners, with a very, very close second as the palette. I am just as surprised as you are, okay? It's got two of the pearlescent glitters. It's really light. There's a lot of blue. There's a lot of pastel. I didn't expect to like it either, but you know what? I do. I like it a lot more than the first one, and I do see how they work together, how they complement each other. Overall, I think this collection is really cute. Like I said, that's just coming from a makeup review standpoint and not from a huge fan of this franchise standpoint. I know a lot of the fans were wanting something more punchy, more colorful. I think that we do have to consider the market for this as well, and I'm sure that that's what they were doing in the midst of this collaboration. As far as that's concerned, I do think they pushed the envelope pretty well with the face gloss, these shifty highlighters. I get it. I see all sides. I personally do like this collection, but I understand what it feels like to be let down as a fan when you're expecting something you're really gonna love and then you see it and you don't love it. That's not a good feeling. I don't want to discount that feeling. So I get that. I like it from a makeup perspective, but I can also see that a lot of the fans are a little bit bummed out. So I would love to hear what you think about this collection. Are you a big fan of Sailor Moon? Are you, like me, just a big fan of makeup in general? Don't forget to use code Amanda at checkout if you decide to pick anything up from this launch. And don't forget to let us know what you think down in the comments below, whether you agree with me, whether you love it, hate it, or just sort of feel meh towards it. I always love to hear what you think about things too. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And I love your sweet, precious little face. Okay, bye!